So in 3 months, my body has aged 10 years. Good morning all, what is up, how are we today? Thank you so much for joining me on my quest to lose 7% body fat and attain a better physique. I'm aiming to do this in around 30 days or so. Today is test day. I've got about an hour's work to do before work, and then before work as well, I'm going to do the test. I've got the test to do today, and then what I'll do is I will share the results with you when I return from work. My expectations are that I will have lost weight. I anticipate my body fat will have decreased slightly. I reckon I'm around 16%. My last test I was 19.8. I'm aiming to get to about 13% because that's generally where I feel quite good. If I can go a little bit lower, great. Not expecting to get anywhere, I'm not looking to do anything extreme like get towards 5% or anything like that, because I don't particularly want that. I'm expecting to see an increase in muscle mass. This is because the muscles are going to literally be swelling up after training. So there's going to be what's called intracellular water in the muscles, which wouldn't have been there previously because I wasn't doing so much resistance training. So it may not actually be growth of new muscles, they just will have going to be more greater volume of them. I am expecting good results in terms of that, better probably than most kind of new people will get, because I have trained before, I've had that muscle mass before, I've had the size before, and it was only been the last sort of 3 months or so that I've kind of let it decline. So I'm expecting it to bounce right back up. I'm hoping the legs will have increased, we've seen a good increase. Upper body, probably a little the same, possibly a little bit extra in the arms. However, I am also taking on board less carbohydrates, so that might be a factor. I also want to look at an increase in my basal metabolic rate, which will enable me to burn more calories throughout the day, due to the fact that I've been doing a lot more resistance training, especially heavy squats, high rep squats. In my opinion, absolutely key for increasing this number. The other one I want to look at is metabolic age. So the machine I use, it actually gives you a metabolic age, and it looks at your body and how it's kind of ticking over, how your metabolism is kicking over. Now, 2 years ago, mine was saying it was 17. I had the metabolic age of a 17-year-old, and I'm age 34 now. Last year, I did the test and it was around 19, I think it was. But then when I did the test a couple months ago, it said it was like 30 or something like that, which I was not happy with at all. So in the space of 3 months where I've not really been training properly, I've been training, I've been working out, but not training. This is what I'm doing in this video, is training. There's a difference between training and working out. I was working out, so I was keeping myself kind of ticking over. Diet was okay, and my kind of lifestyle was a bit sedentary. We are in a lockdown, so we've not been going out as much as kind of usual. Diet's just not been as good. I mean, it's still not been bad, okay? I did just completely let go of myself, so I still retained some of it. However, that just shows that I literally increased, my metabolic age has increased by 10 years in about 3 or 4 months. I've always wanted to see that actually, just to see how long it would take somebody who's trained all the time, how long it would take them for their BMR and their metabolic age to go straight up or downhill. And well, there we go, I'll be answering that question. But it's also going to be equally interesting to see the reverse. Now, I believe I can get that back down. Anyway, quick bit of work, because I've been waffling now, so I'm probably not going to get much done. Got to get this sorted, and then guys, I look forward to seeing you later. Oh, I've got to say, I've already had breakfast. It consisted of 5 eggs, 2 slices of toast, some peanut butter, some orange juice, some coffee, a little bit of collagen protein in the coffee. I've had the results, they are in. Done a bit of work today, worked out, I've eaten 2 meals, my 2 protein shakes. Now, I've got the results in and I wanted to share them with you. Not only that, those of you who've been watching my channel, you can see I'm ready, I've got my glasses on, and that you know that means I mean business. And not only that, I've got the whiteboard out, and I've also got the laptop out, so that means I am serious about the day. Now, one thing I will say though is I'm propping up my laptop here on a dumbbell rack. This is very, very likely going to end in tears, and if it does, by some way, slip off, which is very likely, then you probably won't see the end of this series until at least another 2 years after I've saved that to buy another a replacement laptop. So that being said, let's have a look at the readings. You want to know, have all the training I've been doing lately and the reduction in calories and the being a little bit more sensible in what I'm doing, has that had any effect? I know for a fact I am looking better, I'm feeling better, my results in the gym are going up, I'm stronger with all my lifts. And looking back on the footage from yesterday, I looked absolutely ridiculous when I had a pump on, which was great. It's been a while since I felt that. But having a pump is different at actually getting results, because everyone looks good in the gym. When you're a bit more confident, you start lifting the weights, you start doing things like strip sets and drop sets and tension sets, you get an amazing pump, you look good, it lasts good for a couple of hours, and then it goes down. So I've done a body scan, to the same scan I did a couple of weeks ago, to see if I've got any results and how they've changed. Now, I actually did 2 tests today. I did one in the morning, and then I did one in the afternoon. Now, the one in the morning just didn't seem a bit right, so I thought I'd try a little bit later on, and I've got 2 slightly different results, but they do show a similar trend. So I'm not sure which one is 100% accurate, because there are numerous factors that do affect the test, such as if you've eaten recently. Like, so for example, I'd eaten breakfast 2 hours prior to eating it, it should have been 3 hours, but also having any caffeine in your system can affect the test as well. So I'll go round about in the middle of each one. The key with this sort of test is the more data there is, the better you can look at it, because sometimes you get duff readings, you get an anomaly, and it's not quite right. Whereas if I was doing the test like I'm doing, then that can throw me off. But if you're able to do the test multiple times, you can actually see and look for trends, and that's the best thing about it, rather than just kind of picking one reading, because your weight and all the other variables can fluctuate throughout the day. So looking into it then, so look at my weight. This point here, this is my weight here, 108 kilograms. So I have lost weight. Now I click on this one here, it should tell me. So as you can see there, this point here, the previous reading was 101.8 kilograms. I did the test then this morning, received 101.2 kilograms, so a weight loss, and then I performed the test then later on in the day, and I got 100.8 kilograms. So whichever way you look at it, I have lost weight. With weight loss, it can contribute a lot of things. So it can be body fat, it can be muscle mass, it can be bone density, it can be water as well. So this scan enables me to look at what my body composition is made of. Because with a lot of people, they just look at the weight, they calculate height and weight, and they say you are obese. So I'm currently obese. And as you can see there, where my weight has increased over the last sort of year or so, was back in sort of 2019, I was a lot more lean. My weight has gone up, so I'm now in the obesity zone. The important thing we need to look at is body fat mass. So the system is telling me that based on my height and my weight, so my BMI, I am overweight. If I look at my body fat mass, which is one of the metrics that I want to look at, it's showing there that when I did the test previously, I was 19.8%, and as you can see on that graph, that's the most I've ever had. And prior to this, since I've been doing these tests, I've had no kind of consideration as to my body fat, so I've never really cared about it. So showing there 19.8%, it was the fattest I've ever been. Still, that's not in a bad zone. As a fitness professional, we look at that as the potential risk zone. It's not obese, it's not overweight, but it's kind of getting there unless things are sort of kept in check or changed. Hence this program. The stats are telling me it's got up there. So what I've had to do is I've implemented a training program, diet, focus, etc. And that's brought me down into the fitness zone at 16.8%. So I've lost 3% body fat. Happy with that. The previous test I took was 18%. That's telling me my body fat percentage is probably somewhere between 16-18%, so maybe around about 17% at the moment. But a definite improvement. It's going the right way. I would personally like to have lost a little bit more. However, don't forget I've also been trying to put on muscle mass at the same time. Look at the next metric then. We've got muscle mass. Let's have a look at that one. So what this is telling me here is, yeah, it goes up and down like a little yo-yo for me. But first time I did the test, 77.6 kilograms, which was not quite the least I've been in the last couple of years, but it's certainly towards the bottom end. I had more muscle in December, I had more muscle in November, and I had more muscle in August as well, which is interesting because that was during lockdown and we had no gyms. I dread to see actually 2019, that wasn't in lockdown, that was the year before lockdown, and that was when I was towing cars for fun. The next, so today's test then, let's have a look at it. We're looking at a whopping 79.8 kilograms. So I am over the moon with that. That has jumped up by like 2 kilograms. So I'm really pleased with that. It's not as high as I had it back in the December when I was 80.1. But because of that, because I had that muscle mass recently, that is why I've been able to kind of put it back up. I don't think I've just developed new cells, new muscle, new tissue. What's happened is the muscle's just been there, it's just basically filled with water. It's filled with what's called intracellular water. So when I'm lifting the weights, it's going into the muscle. So you'll find you've got intracellular water, extracellular water. So extracellular water will be as bloat and things like that, whereas intracellular water will be within the muscle. Things like creatine, something like creatine will increase the intracellular water and therefore increase your muscle mass. So a lot of the muscles are made out of water and glycogen, so this here is probably an indicator of that, but it is the fact that my muscles are there in the first place, they've lost them, they've shrunk, but then because I've been hitting the weights hard and not really giving them a break, they've got this almost kind of permanent sort of pump on them, and they are starting to develop and swell up, so will over time then gradually get bigger. So my muscle mass has increased there significantly, which I am very, very pleased with. Bone density is always for me 4.1 kilogram. Like a lot of people say that they put on weight, their muscle mass hasn't changed, but their body fat hasn't changed either. Then they've lost weight. Now the thing to look at here is hydration. So as you can see, I'm very well hydrated, and that is pretty consistent throughout. That shows my hydration level there. It looks like on the time I did the test previously, I was at my least hydrated throughout, which could actually explain why my muscle size was a little bit smaller, because I actually had less water in my body. So it could just be that I'm looking after myself a little bit more. So visceral fat, which for me is, well, its lowest was in August 2019 when I had it at 4, and I would very much like it to return to that kind of area. So that's where I'm hoping to get to, is where I was in August 2019. But you notice as I've got a little bit older, the algorithm does change when you get older. As I've been getting a little bit older, the visceral fat has been increasing, which with men, that is what happens. Visceral fat is stored within the organs, and it's a very stubborn, tricky thing to get rid of. And it's also a bit of a kind of silent assassin, because you don't really see it as much initially, and then suddenly the belly starts popping up and you end up with your pot belly that you're going to put your pint glass on. Whereas with women, they tend to store their body fat subcutaneously, so that's when you get things like cellulite, and you can notice it around the hips because it's right below the skin. So it is often more noticeable in women, and women will generally have a lot less visceral fat than men will have. There's my visceral fat now, so it's correct up here. Not good, not good. It's on its way up. It's still in an okay zone. Anything below 12 is fine, so 7 is still okay, but I'm conscious it is going up. So today is 6, so it's gone down from 7 to 6. Very pleased with that, because that is where I want to lose my body fat from. Very important figure to look at here, and that is basal metabolic rate. As you can see, that fluctuates up and down. It's very difficult to kind of keep things consistent, because things happen. So like I can literally look at this graph here and I can tell you what I was doing in my life at the time, which reflects on how much training I was doing at the time. So what basal metabolic rate is, it calculates how many calories your body needs just to function. So it is literally like your starting point. So if I laid in bed all day, did absolutely nothing, I didn't get out of bed, didn't move, didn't walk all around or anything like that, just my body to keep turning over, to get my organs moving, keep breathing, and everything like that, my body needs 2,481 calories. That is my minimum. By this graph here, that previously was 2,419 calories. So I bought myself an extra 72 calories. Not a huge amount, but that's as a result of lifting the weights. Heavy squats has been pushing that basal metabolic rate up. So that just means my body's going to burn an extra 72 calories a day just by doing nothing. So that is where weightlifting is very important. This was the one that shocked me, and I was very, okay, I'm not upset about it, but I was angry with myself for allowing this to happen. And that's metabolic age. So what happens, the system, after it scans your body, it basically gives you an age of what it would think your body would be. So if the machine didn't know your date of birth, it didn't know who you were, just by scanning your body, it would say, right, okay, I think this is the body of a whatever age it thinks based on the readings it's getting. So this reading here now, it's gonna be fairly steady, and then it's shot up here, where I let myself go a little bit, to 30. I'm age 34 at the moment, 35 in a few months' time. So you might be saying, okay, Max, that's not too bad, it's less than your age. However, if I look back here and I go to August 2019, 17. So, as you can see, I'm not very happy with that. December last year, it's only a few months ago, it was 20. So in 3 months, my body has aged 10 years according to this machine. So you can see I'm not happy with that. Kind of the wake-up call for me there, which said, look Max, you haven't really been following a program, you've just been exercising, you've not been training. I've gone from just working out and just going through the motions here to today, after, 2 weeks of training? 21. So I'm not 9 years off that. Right, so the system goes as far as showing me where I'm storing my body fat. So we're looking at here, I mean, I've got no control over where my body stores its body fat. The body just decides. I don't really like this as opposed to interest purposes only, so I can just see where things are. And we know where things are. Like, I know where my body fat is. It's mainly around here. I know I've lost some on my arms because I'm looking more and more cut. So looking at the graph here, yeah, I can see that I've literally got less than a kilogram of fat on my left arm, even less on my right arm, and I got 3.3 kilograms of fat on my left leg, 3.1 on my right leg. I haven't noticed anything coming from my legs, but it's a definite decrease in terms of body fat and trunk fat mass. As you can see there, 8.8 kilograms actually on my trunk, so I knew that anyway, but I can see it's going down from all regions, which is pretty good. So the amount of body fat loss in total equates to around just over 2 kilograms, so I am really pleased. But what the system also does is allows me to look at my muscle mass, so I can see if my training is being effective at targeting the specific areas. Right, so I'm having a look at this now, and I can see that I've made no gains in my left arm. I think I said that this morning. I don't think I would have increased much muscle in my upper body. I was doing a little bit more upper body training prior to starting this, so they haven't really had the kind of shock that my legs have had, because I've really been pummeling the weights a lot more on my legs. I've been neglecting my legs in terms of weightlifting. Right arm seems to have gone up a little bit by 0.1 kilograms, so I'm going to have to address that in my training and maybe focus on a little bit more on my left arm. However, it's not much. Like that's not an imbalance. That is just slightly, a little bit uneven. That's not an imbalance. That's fine. Like a couple of 0.1, 0.2 kilograms either side of it is fine. My leg muscle mass again shares a similar thing. So my right leg is slightly still ahead of the left leg, but they've both increased. But my legs, they're still not as big as they were back in August 2019 at 13.5, and then they're now showing 13.4. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to pick that back up there that I had back in August. And trunk mass has increased as well. So that's why you can see where my muscle mass has increased from. So I've got some more advanced things here, which gives me comparison analysis with myself and other people. So like I talked about earlier, intracellular water 42.4, so that's just telling me there that I am more hydrated, and the fluid has actually gone into my muscles as a direct result of weight training. This screen then goes on to basically compare to tell me if I'm balanced or not. I mean, I've already looked at that from the previous screen where I could tell whether I was balanced or not. So it tells me there that I got balance between my left arm, which is 0, it's green. If it'd been like 1 or 2 minus 1, it would tell me that there was not balanced. Same with my legs, they're considered balanced. Goes up to compare then my muscle mass with other people of the same demographic. Basically says to me the higher that number is, the bigger my muscles are, so in comparison. So it's basically telling me that I got bigger muscles than most men who are age 35. There's my results, hope that made sense. What it does is it tells me that I'm on the right track. I was successful in my goal of increasing muscle mass. I didn't lose as much body fat as I wanted to lose, so the challenge now for the next sort of couple of weeks until I do the next test will be to try and lose that body fat but maintain the muscle mass, because it's very difficult to do both at the same time. But it just means I'm going to have to be a little bit more strict by either increasing my cardio or by decreasing my calories. But the trouble is, if I start decreasing my calories or doing too much cardio, then I may actually eat into my muscle gains. So we'll see how I get on, and this is why we want to do regular testing, so you can see how you're getting on. You're going to analyse and adjust, and that's what it's all about. So what's very important with training is that I've got some kind of plan. So I'm just going to pop that there in the middle, plan. There, all good to go. What good is a plan if I don't ever start the plan? I just write down a bit of paper, put it in a box, never to be seen again. The first thing we do once we've got this plan written down is we execute the plan. Got my plan, I'm executing it, I'm going through all the things that I've planned to do. Next stage of the cycle is I analyse. I could be doing my plan, I could be getting so far with it, plan might not be working. How do I know this? I get results on the screen, I get results in the mirror, I get results in my training, the progress. So I analyse my results, I analyse how I got to my results, or I analyse my lack of results. And then I need to ask myself, why has this happened? Why have I got results? Why have I not got results in different areas? So with that in mind then, and with after you reviewed it, and we've got the data, we've got the information, the next step is we adjust. What can I do differently in this plan now? Do I just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over? No, because the body gets used to that. The body will get used to the stimulus. If I just keep lifting the same weight over and over and over again, keep doing the same exercise over and over again at the same weight, the same intensity, my body will progress so far, but then eventually it'll just stop. It'll stop progressing, it'll stop being challenging, it'll stop needing to adapt. So I need to work out ways to adjust it, so I'm constantly trying to push myself. So once I've adjusted that, I've made the tweaks. I mean, you might have the best program in the world, you might be working, you might be getting progress, like I'm getting progress there. So if I continue on this track the way I'm going, but bear in mind I have been continuously pushing myself each time, so the plan is working for now, because I've learned how to consistently push myself and change things and challenge myself. I'm not doing the same workouts, I'm doing the same exercises or similar exercises. I'm looking at criteria where I can gauge on. So the criteria exercise like a bench press is still there. A squat, these exercises are still there using different techniques, but I'm able to ramp the intensity up, and I'm focusing on weights and I'm focusing on time with attention. All these different variables I'm looking at. So once I've adjusted it then, I thought, okay, so for the next stage of the plan, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to increase my cardio, I'm going to reduce my carbohydrates slightly. Then all I've got to do is I've got to execute that strategy. And then the cycle starts again. Execute, analyse, adjust. The cycle will keep going round, so I'm continuously striving to improve, continuously striving to get better. And then I'll do that, and that process will work, and I will keep doing that process for as long as I want to maintain this program. Hope you find this helpful. Thank you for sticking in with me throughout. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you stop falling asleep at the back over there. I've shared this information with you because, one, I want to show you how I'm progressing, because I know you're watching the series, so I imagine you do have some kind of interest in how I'm getting on. But I've also had quite a lot of messages from people saying, look, you know, they're interested in achieving whatever goals they're looking to achieve. It's not necessarily going to be the same as mine. They're at different levels of their training to where I am, but they're being motivated by the fact that I'm working every day and they just want to see someone grinding every single day, and it keeps them going as well. So that program there, that plan will work for you as well with whatever your goal is. So I just wanted to share that just so that you can take that away, plan your own programs. Because at the end of the day, I'm more than happy to sell programs on my website. I sell a Commando 90 training program. I know it's not for everyone. I'm more than happy to sell programs. I'm more than happy to do one-to-one sessions with people. But I would much rather empower somebody to develop their own strategies, their own training programs, their own diet programs. And I would rather just give you the tools to go ahead and do it. And because that's part of the fun, I find, part of the fun is doing this process. Part of the fun is looking at what you're doing, looking at how you're getting on, learning from mistakes, learning from your results, seeing what works for you, seeing what doesn't work for you. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video, if you find this helpful. Let me know if you want any more information on what I talked about there on the screen, or any types of plans like this. I'm going to be doing quite a Q&A session soon, whereby I answer the questions in your comments as part of a video series that we'll be running after this one very shortly. Thank you for watching today's video. There's not going to be any videos now for the next 2 days because they're going to be rest recovery days. I'm going to make sure I stay on top of my diet and make sure I do plenty of walking, and then that should allow me to have plenty of energy then to restart next week with renewed enthusiasm and to have a tough, good, solid week of training. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice evening and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.